he's been to 5 Super Bowl. I mean, Allen hasn't been to 1 Super Bowl, and the big reason he hasn't gotten there is, oh, look at that. He can't beat Mahomes ever. Home, away, makes no difference. Like, to me, to not rank Mahomes 1 is either because you're bored or you're blind.
It's that football show here on KC Sports Network. Tucker Franklin hanging out with Matt Verderame. Thank you to our partners, Ben Holiday, Bottled and Bond Bourbon, for making this whole show possible to find folks at Holiday Distillery. We love them. You know them. You appreciate them as well. Help out the people that help make this show possible by go supporting Holiday Distillery. Just had their 8-year bourbon released, actually. They just had a big release party for it over the weekend. Go check that out if you are in one of the select states that they do have 8-year coming out. Matt, how was your Father's Day? How was your weekend? How was everything on your neck of the woods?
Father's Day was good. Got my girls, Brandon, woke me up at like 9 o'clock, which is nice to sleep in. And then went out to breakfast and just kind of hung out. Took them to a park. They got to run around and play. And for me, listen, at that point I was 10 days post back surgery, so I couldn't exactly go nuts, but it was fun to hang out with them and have some fun and relax. And it was good. It was a day where I'm not responsible to do anything. It's a good day, and it was a good time, man. It was fun. It was fun to just kind of hang out and watch them, the older one do the monkey bars and the younger one just go up and down a slide for an hour straight. So, no complaints. How was your weekend? I know you're, as far as we know, you don't have any kids, but are you living the dream?
As far as I know, I don't have any kids either. Maybe there's some stragglers out there. Who knows? No, I had a good weekend, pretty low key. Watching the U.S. Open a little bit. We were talking about before the podcast last time that the U.S. Open was at Oakmont. I was in attendance, so that was pretty cool to look back kind of on that. And that course is insane. I don't know how big you are into golf, Matt, but that course is. I personally, I love it when the course eats the golfers up and they throw an absolute fit. It's like, oh, you just want to have a super easy job? Like, no, the course should be hard.
I am a casual golf fan, but I did watch the weekend in Oakmont, and I love when golfers look like me.
Yeah.
There is nothing more than when some guy's got to hit a flop shot and hits it 2 feet, and you're like, yeah, guess what, buddy? Try it again. I mean, listen, the rough was basically, if you hit the ball 2 feet off of the fairway, you might as well have been in a prairie.
Right.
And it's pouring. It's just, it was great. I thoroughly enjoy it. I don't like when a guy can win shooting like 16 under. I would much rather, I think that Augusta is pretty much perfection as a golf course.
Mm-hmm.
But I do enjoy that the U.S. Open's it would be great if we make half these guys want to quit the sport. What do you think? What are we thinking about a par 3 600? What do we do? And then every once in a while you'll get a par 4. I think it was it's the 17th hole there. Those par 4 315 or something like that. So they give them like a kernel of hope.
Yeah, it's also
we can just get to 17. Maybe we can get a good number. But no, I did watch it, and I actually called my dad at the very end. She does not watch golf unless it's a really rare occasion.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dad, I know you're not watching this. You would thoroughly enjoy watching these guys right now try to play golf. This is anybody who gets par should celebrate. This is awesome. I mean, they're basically playing in the ocean right now, and they're trying to hit the ball out of 8-foot high reeds. It was great. It was great. I hope next year's course is even harder.
Looks like the USGA probably should have stepped in and been like, "Hey, let's maybe not play in this, this weather." Probably should have done that, especially when the leader's coming down 18 and everything like that. But to sink that 64-foot putt for the
that was
win,
outrageous.
insane, dude. There's nothing more electric than watching like the last hole and you need a putt to win or something like that. Like the Masters this year was kind of that way too, and went into a playoff like that. Those like live golf like that is incredible.
One of the greatest sporting events I've ever watched was the Rocco Media Tiger Woods battle. I believe that was what U.S. Open, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was outrageous. And yeah, I am a very casual golfer. Like I know who's good. Like I know who all the golfers are, but I'm not going to watch unless it's the weekend of a major. Like I'm not going to sit down and watch, the Buick Invitational. I just don't care. But if it's one of the majors, I'll watch the weekend. And yeah, that was bonkers. But yeah, no, it's always fun. Every once in a while, you get a weekend in golf that you always remember. Whether for me, it was like the Woods Media thing, or when Tiger won, a couple of years ago at the Masters.
Yeah,
I remember that shot he hit on 16. Just being like, oh my god! Like I thought he was going to hold it out. Like this, this is it. I went, this is going to be the greatest golf shot of all time. But yeah, in any event, but yeah, no, I've had plenty of time. I mean, I've been in my recliner doing nothing the last 13 days other than walking here and there. Like I was telling you off camera, I've gotten a lot of documentaries in. I watched some weekend golf. I don't know why, because I'm not a big tennis guy, but lately, like on my YouTube recommended, has been like these like Wimbledon clips from like the 80s.
Interesting.
I've been watching them. I got to tell you, I know a lot more about tennis than I used to. I know. Really into the Borg McEnroe sets in the 80s. Really into those matches. Yeah. So I mean, I've been gifted time.
Yeah.
But what a wonderful gift it is. I have done nothing. I have sat around until 2:00 in the morning, just sitting there like, oh, look at that, another video I can watch. And yeah, I am useless.
It's beautiful. You're more useful, I will say, than probably Chris Sims' recent quarterback rankings. As
it's not a high bar.
Yeah, very little bar to clear. As I don't know what is more egregious. I guess we'll just dive into it. I made a video about this. I put it out on social media just because it was something that I knew I wanted to talk about on the podcast, but it was also something that I was like, I gotta get a video out about this right now. Because I feel like there's a recent trend on social media going on, TikTok, Instagram. I see it everywhere, Twitter too, where people are ranking average Joes and even, the media people are ranking their top 10 quarterbacks coming into the season. It's not like a new novel concept, right? Like we've been doing this for ages, right? Where we rank positions, and we even talked about a couple shows ago where PFF ranked every single position, the top 32 players at every position. But the more and more I see of people ranking them, specifically the quarterbacks, you're seeing Patrick Mahomes consistently fall at like 4. And I find that to be outrageous and blasphemous. But then in Chris Sims' rankings, I think this might be crazier. See, has Lamar Jackson at number 1.
Yeah, lovely.
I want to get your thoughts on this. And is Patrick Mahomes being underrated coming into this year, Matt?
First of all, yes, the answer is yes. But I want somebody to just have the guts. Just rank him like 12th.
Yeah.
Behind Jordan Love. Let's just go all the way in. But you know what? He's a product of Andy Reid and Travis Kelce, and he was never any good. When Kelce retires, supposed to be Kirk Cousins. Like, hey, it's fine. Yeah, if he's not number 1, he's underrated. And also, I know the pushback from certain corners of the world, like Western New York, would be, well, Josh Allen won the MVP.
Right.
Awesome. He's a great player. I'm not denying that.
Yeah.
Cam Newton won the MVP. And there wasn't a soul on earth who thought Cam Newton was the best quarterback in the NFL. Okay? Like, no one ever sat there and was like, you know what? I'd rather have Cam Newton than Tom Brady. I gotta tell you, the only difference right now between Cam Newton and Josh Allen is Cam Newton went to a Super Bowl.
That's true.
Like, and look, I'm somewhat being facetious in the sense that I truly do think Allen to me right now is the only quarterback that if you want to argue that he's on the same tier as Mahomes, I'll hear you and not be vehemently annoyed with you.
Yeah.
I don't think he's as good as Mahomes, But if you want to sit there and say, hey, listen, when he plays at his best, he is a reasonable facsimile of Mahomes, fine. Lamar Jackson being ranked number one is something I will never understand as long as I live. And that's actually another example of a guy. Like, yes, he's a two-time MVP. And there are a short list of guys who have ever been MVPs multiple times. And with that being said, there's no world that Lamar Jackson's the best quarterback in the NFL. I'm sorry. And you know why that is? Because the playoffs count too. And thankfully for him, they don't count for the MVP. But they count when you're talking about the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And I have eyes. My eyes work. I've watched every game Lamar Jackson's played for the last, 4 or 5 years. Like, he is a Hall of Fame player. He is a spectacular talent. And yet, in big moments, he has been a disaster. There is no getting around that. And to sit there and paint that any other way is just absolute intellectual dishonesty.
Yeah.
He has been a mess in huge games. He has lost him repeatedly. He has played Allen in the playoffs twice. He is 0-2. He has played Mahomes in the playoffs once. He's 0-1. He would have played him twice, but he couldn't beat Ryan Tannehill in 2019. He got smoked in that game, and he was awful in it. And if anybody who sits there and looks at the box score and is like, well, he had 500 yards, go watch that game.
Yeah.
He was atrocious in that game. Okay. I just, to me, the other thing is like Burrow being ahead of him. And I, for the longest time, said, look, I would take Burrow over Allen. I'm going to be honest. I've changed my opinion on that. Like, Burrow, to me, is still a great quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Burrow has the one argument of, hey, he has beaten Mahomes in a big spot, which Allen can't argue that. Lamar can't argue that.
He's beaten Allen, too. So he's the only quarterback to beat both of them.
Right. And he beat them both on the road. He beat them both in their buildings.
Mm-hmm.
The problem for Burrow is those games are getting further and further away.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem. It's getting further and further down the road. Now, with Burrow, you can at least have the argument of, look, man, that team is like, other than the receivers, is falling apart around him. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I would also argue that Mahomes, there's no world Mahomes is not getting to the playoffs. Burrow couldn't get them to the playoffs last year.
Right.
And while that's not on him, it also is kind of like you're the quarterback. You're going to get good and the bad. The reason Mahomes is at number one in every one of these quarterback rankings is because it's boring.
Mm-hmm.
That's why. If the Chris Simses of the world had a platform in the 90s and they covered the NBA, some dope would have been like, you know what? I know Jordan wins all the time and he's great. Charles Barkley, number one. Like, Charles Barkley won the MVP in 1993. Go look at Michael Jordan's stats that year. Who won the title and beat Barkley? Tell me that guy shouldn't have been the MVP. Karl Malone was the MVP. You know why? You know why Jordan didn't win 10 MVPs in a row? Just boring. That's why.
Yep.
Like, I was there. I lived it. I know. Like, Jordan, it got to a point with Jordan where it just became like, oh my God, I can't just sit here and have the same opinion over and over and over. I guarantee you the Stephen A. Smiths of the world back then would have been like,
they've been eating.
I'll take Olajuwon. I'll take Drexler. I'll take Malone. I'll take whoever the fuck. And I got to tell you, like, all those guys were great players. They were great players. But they had two things in common. They all lost to Jordan, and none of them were better than him. And it's the same thing with Mahomes in this era. They're all great players, and they all lose to Mahomes, and none of them are better than him. Like, that's it. I mean, it's just boring. That's the problem. It's boring. It's really boring to just go, yep, Mahomes is the best, and then, go into, like, who the hell's number two?
What I also think gets lost in this is this is probably a larger conversation about our society and about how we are as a species as a whole, is that we are prisoners of the moment. The last time we saw Patrick Mahomes, obviously, was the Super Bowl, and that did not go very well. Go and you look at the box scores that you're mentioning, like some people will go and just box score watch. So they'll stat sheet look. You look at 2024, that's his lowest yards he's ever thrown in his career, tied for the lowest amount of touchdowns he threw in his career. You look at the last 2 years, his touchdown to interception ratio is just over 2-1. something that is very rare for Patrick Mahomes, especially early on in his career. He was putting up explosive dynamite numbers. So you see a little bit of that taper. And I think that people are naturally like, oh, he's falling off. But I think there's important context we don't talk about last year. There's a lot of context that goes into the dip in those numbers that we don't talk about. The marquee free agent for the Kansas City Chiefs last year played in a single snap of a preseason game and had his clavicle shoot through his chest, essentially. It was not good. He immediately goes down. You're like, okay, we can deal with one injury. He'll be back. Maybe Tyreek Hill had the same injury. I remember we're talking maybe week 4, week 5. Maybe he can come back by then. He has a setback, doesn't come back until later on in the playoffs, where Hollywood Brown admitted this week that he kind of rushed back and wasn't really up to full speed and full snuff going into the playoff run. That's not uncommon because I think we saw it with Isaiah Pacheco. We saw it with a lot of other guys with injuries.
Yeah.
Okay, week 1, you see a huge outburst from Rashee Rice. You're like, wow, look how this team's going to use Rashee Rice. Look at all these RPOs that they're running. Week 4, he gets hurt early on in that game. He's out for the rest of the season. Now you have the 2 offensive weapons that you were banking on no longer there, no longer a part of the play calling. And now you have a rookie wide receiver that you're like, oh boy, we were really we were kind of hoping you were going to be the number 3 for this whole year, but now you got to be the number 1 target with Juju Smith-Schuster, who was signed after he was cut from the New England Patriots. They made a mid-season trade for DeAndre Hopkins that worked out for 1 game against Tampa Bay, and that was pretty much it. And then they also had Justin Watson running out there getting his cardio in. They had him out there taking some snaps, but that was it. So they went into the season. They went into last season having a plan on offense. And we've heard about it. Like, they wanted to throw the deep ball more. They wanted to obviously use some more RPOs with Rashee Rice and his ability to run after the catch. That all looked phenomenal early on in the season. Like, that offensive plan was exciting. Like, that got you excited. And before the bye week even got here, that rug was pulled out from underneath the Chiefs. They couldn't do that anymore. So then they had to kind of come up with, okay, how are we going to run an offense? Not to mention, Matt, they could not figure out left tackle last year. Kingsley Suamataia was bad. Wanya Morris was also bad. Both of those guys get the hook. They get pulled, and they have to play their left guard at left tackle. So now you're looking at completely changing the structure of how you call plays, of what plays you do run because you cannot protect, who you're throwing the ball to, how much chemistry you have throwing the ball to them. All of that goes out the window. For the fact that this football team, Matt, last year went 15-1 with their starters is actually asinine insane. Like, it is insane that when you look at who was playing for this football team, that they won 15 football games. And look, I don't think the context is greatly appreciated when it comes to kind of the dip off in numbers, and people will just see, 3,900 yards last year, 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. That's not very good. Patrick Mahomes must be falling off. He must not be very good. That context of what happened last year is so important when taking all this into account. And he still beat Josh Allen in the playoffs. Like, that's the thing. Like, he still beat Josh Allen. He probably would have beat Lamar Jackson if he would have had the opportunity to beat Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. Like, that's the thing. I don't understand how people can. Well, this is what they don't do. They don't take the context of everything into it. I understand Josh Allen's weapons are not stellar. Like, that was probably his worst crop of weapons that he had last year, and he had a pretty good year. He won the MVP, obviously. But there's something about having a game plan and having a philosophy for your season heading into a season and having that all go out the window by week 4 and having to figure out what to do that I don't think is greatly appreciated by the national media for them still winning 15 games and going to the Super Bowl, even though the Super Bowl was a big letdown and is one of the things that people still point to. I tweeted out my video, and Eagles fans flock to anything that's Patrick Mahomes related right now. I don't know if you noticed this.
I don't care the people that do that in any sport are the worst people in life. Like, these other teams come and like, it's like, bro, just be happy you won. Like,
we're putting too much stock in that game is all I'm saying. In that one singular game with a team that won they won 19 football games last year in total. But we're taking that one game, I think, way out of proportion. I think that's what's happening.
So here, my thing with this is like, everything you just said, which is well put. Thank
you.
Mahomes threw for more yards last year than Josh Allen did. Mahomes threw for like 200 yards more than Josh Allen. Josh Allen threw for like 3,700 yards last season.
I did not know that.
And he threw for like 2 less touchdowns. And then beat him in the playoffs. Yes. People treat Josh Allen last year like he threw for 5,000 yards. Josh Allen threw for 3,700 yards. Okay, you go ahead and fact check me on that one. He threw for 37.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah. No, I'm positive. I mean, that's.
I'm genuinely blown away by that. Like that, like legitimately, 3,731 yards, 28 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Didn't throw that, like threw 5 more interceptions. Patrick Mahomes did.
He threw for 300 yards 3 times last season. Yeah. For 300 yards 3 times last year. I don't understand the argument that Allen is all of a sudden now like, by the way, Mahomes also threw for 300 yards 3 times last year. I don't understand the argument that Allen is all of a sudden usurped him. How?
Right.
Because he won the MVP? How did Allen's season end last year? Losing to Mahomes for the 4th time in 5 years. That's how it ended. Allen is a great player. But at some point, it does matter that when these two guys face each other in big moments, Mahomes beats him every time. And I got to tell you, I believe me, I've got a lot of Bills fans in my life. I went to school 3 hours from Buffalo. I know a lot of people that cover the Bills and become really good friends with them over the years. You run into them in Indianapolis at the Combine and everything else. And a lot of them are Bills fans. And I truly have a lot of respect for the Bills. But I do not listen to the argument that Allen hasn't had help. What? That they've had top 10 defenses religiously with Allen over the years.
Yeah.
The only argument I'll hear as far as Allen not having the help that Mahomes has is the coaching staff.
Yeah.
I'll hear that. That's fine. McDermott is nowhere near as good as Reed. That's fine. But you know what? I got to tell you, the only game that I ever walked away from, and I don't think he outplayed Mahomes, but I don't think he could have played better, was the 13 seconds game. That game to me is not on out. That game is just look. What are you gonna? I mean, those two to me that is a game. I don't think it'll ever be eclipsed. It's the most perfectly quarterback game I've ever watched in my life. The other game, the 2020 AFC title game, Allen was awful to start that game, awful until it was completely out of hand. The 2022 game, Allen was 10 of 21 for 95 yards on throws past the line of scrimmage. Okay, Allen was not good in that game. People have this weird hindsight of it. Oh, if Bass missed, if he doesn't miss that kick, first of all, I got news for you. If Bass doesn't miss that kick, the Chiefs would have gone 60 yards and Bucker would have drilled one through the uprights and they would have won the game anyway.
Yeah.
Allen couldn't do anything that night throwing the football. And yes, Diggs had to drop down the field. He should have caught it. Fine. Allen also had Shakir wide open in the end zone. If he shuffles half a step to the right and throws it, it's a walk-in touchdown. Instead, he gets hit by Jones, and he doesn't complete the pass, and all the rest of it's history. And then last year in the divisional or in the AFC title game, I mean, he was fine in that game. He wasn't great in that game. It wasn't like you walked away from that game going, "Oh my God, Allen." My God, the first possession of the game, he almost threw 2 interceptions.
Right, yes.
I mean, what? You didn't walk away from that going, man, Josh. And by the way, in the last 2 games in the playoffs with those 2 teams, Josh Allen has had the game on his racket, down 3 with the ball, and in both instances, they scored 0 points. I don't care. I don't hear it. By the way, when Mahomes has had moments like that, he has driven his team down the field almost without fail and put the ball in the end zone. It's just, I'm sorry. It's different. It's different. Allen is a great player. And I feel like a lot of times you feel like to make the argument for Mahomes, you have to denigrate other guys. And I don't like doing that. But Allen's greatness doesn't need to be diminished to point out the fact that Mahomes is legitimately the greatest player I've ever seen in my life. That's what it is. I've made this comparison for years. Tom Brady is Bill Russell to me. He's the greatest winner I've ever seen in my life. Mahomes is Jordan, where you just watch that guy and you're like, he is a force of nature unlike anything I've ever seen. And I get it. Look, Mahomes, there's always going to be the fact that in 2 Super Bowls, he's gotten blown out. One of which he had no chance. He played well. It just didn't matter.
Yeah.
The other game, let's be honest, he played like shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's just call it what it is. I was at the game. I was in the locker room after the game. He was atrocious that night. He was. But that's also going to, Brady lost 3 Super Bowls. That's going to happen when you're there every year. Like, you're going to lose occasionally. It's like, well, Trent Dilfer never lost a Super Bowl. Trent Dilfer only got to 1. Like, that's going to happen when you're in a billion of them.
Right.
And it's like, well, that's true. He's lost too. I don't know whether or not it matters that they lost by a lot or they lose by a little, like they lost and whatever it is.
Right.
But in the end, like, he's been to 5 Super Bowls. Allen hasn't been to 1 Super Bowl. And the big reason he hasn't gotten there is, look at that. He can't beat Mahomes ever. Home, away, makes no difference. Like, to me, to not rank Mahomes 1 is either because you're bored or you're blind.
I think that's a perfect cherry to put on top of this. You're bored or you're blind. I'm still kind of flabbergasted that Josh Allen had less passing yards than Patrick Mahomes last year. You dropped that bombshell on me, and it threw me for a loop. And I'm just looking at some of his playoff game logs. In the game you're talking about in 2024, that would have been the divisional round when they hosted the Chiefs. When the Chiefs went on the road after, saying they can't.
23 season, like January of 24.
Correct.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yes, January of 24, 23 season, when the narrative was the Chiefs have never beaten a team on the road in the playoffs.
Because they never played one on the road in the playoffs. They're home from it, yes.
Correct. They went on the road for this. Yeah, this would have been the first time that they went on the road.
They never been on the road before. Mahomes are always at home.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Josh Allen threw for 186 yards.
Yes, and again, 95 came on throws past the line of scrimmage in that game.
Yeah.
Yes. But please tell me more about how Mahomes can't possibly measure. By the way, didn't Mahomes that game throw for like 9.5 yards an attempt?
I'm pretty sure. I'll pull that up real quick.
I'm pretty sure if you go back and look at that game with Kadarius Toney and MVS as his top receivers outside of Rashee Rice.
Oh my God!
I'm pretty sure. Well, actually, it wasn't. Was it Toney that year? Yeah, it was, right?
Yeah, probably would have been. Yeah,
it was Toney, and just a smorgasbord of absolute nonsense.
11 yards an attempt.
11 yards per attempt. With nobody on that team. Yes, there you go. Okay.
Yeah.
He had Kelsey and kind of Rashee Rice, who was a rookie, and the rest of the team was a disaster. And he threw 11 yards per attempt that night in Buffalo. Yeah.
That's insane. Can I give you the leading receivers for the Kansas City Chiefs in that game? Travis Kelsey.
Let me guess. Looking back, I would guess that Kelsey led the team.
Mm-hmm.
I remember he had a really good game.
Yep. He led the game too, by the way. Kelsey did.
Okay. It was MVS, wasn't it? It's number 2?
VS was number 2.
He made 2 huge catches in that game.
Yep.
And the third one is probably Rashee Rice.
2 receptions for 62 yards.
Yeah. He had that one play down the field where Mahomes stepped out of ridiculous trouble and threw it, and somehow MVS caught up between 2 guys. Yeah. Yep.
And then it was Rashee Rice at 3. 4 catches, 47 yards.
Yeah. It was ridiculous. The guy threw for 11 yards an attempt on the road in Buffalo to a tight end who's 34 years old in that game and a receiver who they were dying to release.
Yeah.
But I've got to listen to how he's been carried his whole career. It's a guess.
Sure. Yeah, that's what people also, to put down Mahomes, they also lift up how good MVS was or how good Sammy Watkins was good, but he could never stay on the field.
Sammy Watkins, he was fine. But it's are we putting Sammy Watkins in the Hall of Fame? It's
right.
Yeah, it's if we're gonna lift up Sammy Watkins as being great, then Khalil Shakir is great.
Did you see the Bills fan tweet that was going around that's the weapons that Patrick Mahomes has had? And he's Travis Kelsey, Hall of Famer, Tyreek Hill, Hall of Famer, DeAndre Hopkins, Hall of Famer. I thought it was funny he tossed in DeAndre Hopkins as he didn't play 6 games. It was a washed version.
Argument I ever get from Bills fans about Mahomes and Allen. They're like, well, since 2020, it's like what, the first 2 years of his career doesn't count?
Right, yeah.
I mean, it was awful. And they purposely lop off an MVP season and a season the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. And by the way, even since 2020, there's no argument Allen's been better if you want to argue. If you're statistically speaking, it's still not even close. Yeah. The Chiefs have gone to 3 Super Bowls since then. Mahomes has thrown for more yards since then, more touchdowns, fewer interceptions. Like, there's never been a year that Allen has thrown for more yardage than Mahomes. Any individual season. He's never done it. He's never thrown for more yards than Mahomes in any given season.
What are we doing?
It's the dumbest argument of all time. It's like arguing that Adrian Beltre was a better power hitter than Aaron Judge. They're like, no, because he had like 35 one year. It's like, yeah, Judge hit 60 that season. Right. Yeah, I know, but it's goes to the short parts, and because it's like, no, actually, it's not. His average homer distance like 480 feet. Well, but no, it goes to the wind in New York. It's like, oh my God, stop, just stop. Like it until this past season, when Allen threw 28 touchdowns and Mahomes threw 26. Allen had never had a year where he threw for more touchdowns than Mahomes either.
Huh?
It's not close. It's not even like. The argument always centers around, look at all the touchdowns Allen's run for. It's like, the Chiefs don't let Mahomes run sneaks, right?
Right, like, yes. That's a yes.
Like, if the Chiefs wanted Mahomes to just run in 12 times for a touchdown from the one, they could do it. Like, yeah. And Allen is a better runner than Mahomes, although I would argue that there's never been a guy who's better in critical situations running the ball than Mahomes. No doubt. Like, the funny thing with Mahomes and Allen, actually, although, and this even applies to Lamar, oddly. If I said to you in their 3 careers, okay, give me the most consequential run of their careers.
Ooh.
If I said to you, what is the run? But all 3 of them, like put them all together, all their runs. Who's run? Like the first run that you would go to would either be Mahomes in the Super Bowl against Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Or the one against Tennessee.
That's the one I went to, yes.
He's got the 2 most consequential runs of all 3 of their careers combined.
Yeah.
There is not a single run in Lamar's career that even approaches those 2 runs.
Right.
And there certainly is not one with Josh Allen. Like Josh Allen, the best run of his career is probably the one against the Chiefs in the regular season.
Yeah, no, that was a good one.
And it was a great run.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to tell you, if you're comparing it to the other 2 runs I just mentioned, it doesn't fucking matter. Who cares? Like it's a great run. It's a great play. If you look back, and I would also argue that there is no quarterback in the history of the sport that has 2 runs as consequential as his 2 runs.
Mm. Yeah.
Good luck finding him. Not Joe Montana.
No.
Wasn't Tom Brady. It wasn't Manning. Okay?
Right.
He has, of any quarterback playing right now, he has the 2 most consequential runs in NFL history of any active quarterback. And it's not even close. Go find me the argument. Like so that's where, yes, Allen and certainly Lamar have had better running numbers. Nobody is better situationally running the football than Patrick Mahomes is. Nobody.
Yeah. I think
he's got 2 more consequential runs than most running backs.
That's true. Yes.
You could make a real argument. He's got 2 more consequential runs. Like, Jonathan Taylor's got 2 bigger runs than that? Like, I'm serious. Like, you could have like running backs who don't have 2 runs like that in their careers.
Look, I've been on this big train of looking at past running backs. I tweeted about it yesterday. 2009 running back year. I think it was 2009. The running back year where Chris Johnson ran for 2,000 yards and had 2,500 scrimmage yards. Insane, by the way. I tweeted about this. I don't think people understand how good Chris Johnson was. Like, I think that that's being lost in the shuffle.
He was like a comet, but he was unbelievable for the few years that he was really good.
Yeah. And like that year of like running backs, when I went back and I looked at like the rushing leaders list, I was like, wow, there's some dudes on this list. You get your Matt Forte. I mean, you had I think Sean Alexander was on that list a little bit. I mean, like you had some names that I can remember of like, boy, howdy. That was the peak of running backs. And then his Dirkness, amateur hour of amateur hour
Of
fame,
course.
responded to my tweet. I can't remember what year he said. Maybe it was 04 that had like just an insane amount of
Well, in '98, Barry Sanders and Terrell Davis both. Let me make sure. Am I right with this? I might. No. I'm sorry. I'm off. I was going to say they both ran 2000 that year, but that's a lie. Davis did it in '98. Sanders did it in '97. But like, that was an era of just wild, right? But that's also an era where like everyone ran the ball first and second down.
Yeah, right.
But like Sanders, Smith, Thurman Thomas, Curtis Martin,
I
running
want to.
backs galore.
I want to read you the top rushing leaders in 2009. Chris Johnson obviously led the way. Steven Jackson, remember that guy? He was fun for a little bit. Thomas Jones for the Jets. Yeah. Maurice Jones-Drew, that was a fun running back. Adrian Peterson, Ray Rice, Ryan Grant, Cedric Benson,
Cedbed,
Jonathan Stewart.
Wow.
Ricky Williams. That's your top 10.
Okay, yeah. Jonathan Stewart was a good player.
Sneaky good player. 03 was his Dirkness gave up for his. Jamal Lewis led the way with 2,000 rushing yards, but then also Amon Green, LaDainian Tomlinson, Deuce McAllister at 4, Clinton Portis at 5. Oh, Clinton Portis was a dog. But I really remember him with Washington rather than Denver. Is that because I'm young?
Yeah, I remember him with Denver, but his best years were Washington. But Priest Holmes that year set an all-time rushing touchdowns mark.
Yeah, 27 touchdowns for Priest Holmes there. He had 1,400 rush yards. That's a good season. He was number 9 on the list.
That's wild, man. 1,400 yards. He was 9th.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Ricky Williams still showing up on that list as well.
They
so shout out Ricky Williams.
It wasn't that year. I think it was 04. Where Derek Blaylock and Priest Holmes both ran for 4 touchdowns in the game. It was against Atlanta. They scored 56 points, they had 8 touchdowns, and they were on the ground. 4 for Blaylock, 4 for Holmes. I mean, that'll never happen again.
Oh, no. So I've been doing this. I'm doing this new series on Twitter. I've been scheduling out these tweets of just random Chiefs players. Naming a random.
I saw your Snoop Minnis tweet the other day.
Yeah, Snoop Minnis was number 1. That was just the first random Chiefs play that popped into my head. So I've been going through, and I've got a little bit of a process. I got a wheel that gives me a year. I flip heads or tails for offense or defense, and then I look at the roster and I feel compelled. Is basically how it works. A name that compels me. Boy, howdy, have they had some running backs, and have they had some names. And just like looking at some of the stats that they had, some of those early 2000s years with like the running backs when you had, was it the 03 team that had Tony Richardson as well. And,
yes.
And Priest, like both of those guys were just like rushing for 1,000 yards. And you're just like, what the hell? The football was so different back in the day.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. By the way, on a total side note, but I think this is interesting. So Aaron Schatz is a buddy of mine who does great work over at ESPN, and he used to Football Outsiders and all that stuff. So he put out his list, or his, I guess I should say, his quarter-century All-Pro team. There are a lot of Chiefs on this list.
Quarter-century?
Yeah, the first 25 years of the century.
Oh, that makes sense.
He named the coaching staff. Dave Tobe is a special teams coordinator. Pretty interesting. But they named 3 coaches. So he did it like a roster, like a 53-man roster.
Gotcha. Okay.
His quarterbacks are Brady, Manning, and Mahomes, which I think those would be the 3 guys.
Stacked, yeah. Priest
Holmes is one of the 3 running backs.
Really?
And I got to tell you, I mean, I don't necessarily agree with his list. He's got McCaffrey on there and Henry. He has LaDainian Tomlinson as a practice squad guy. It's like, man, I got to tell you, I think LaDainian Tomlinson. I got to tell you. But, he does not have Tyreek Hill in his top 8 receivers. Which he has Justin Jefferson on there.
Oh.
He's got Kelsey and Tony Gonzalez.
Wow.
On the team.
Wow.
He's got Chris Jones as one of his defensive tackles.
Nice. Good.
Jared Allen made the list as an edge rusher.
As a Viking, probably.
But yeah, I'm sure. But yeah. And then he's got Dave Tobe as a coach. So the Chiefs were Darrell Revis, Chief, made it.
Yeah, it's true. I need to throw him on my list of Raven Chiefs.
Patrick Peterson, who was rumored to be a Chief like 9 times.
Pretty much a Chief at this honorary Chief. Who was the head coach? Was it Belichick? Did they give Belichick a head coach?
Belichick, yeah. Which I mean, fair enough. But I'll have to get Aaron on my pod at some point, and I'll ask him why in God's name did Sabby Piscatelli not make it, and who was paid off to make sure he didn't get on the list.
Sabby Piscatelli.
I am irate over that. Sabby Piscatelli might be the worst player I've ever seen in my life, and the fact that he's not on the All-Pro team really pisses me off.
You know who I recently found out about last night doing this list of random Chiefs players?
I'm sure, since you're 10 years younger than me, some guy who gave me arrhythmia. You go ahead, who?
He played from 1980 to 1983.
Oh, thank God he was ahead of my time. All right, who you got?
Dino Mangiero.
Never even heard of him.
Nose tackle. Yeah, you can't find a picture of him playing for the Kansas City Chiefs. I found a picture of him because I'm shooting out a picture of it, obviously, with it. I found a picture of him holding up the team picture of the 1981 Kansas City Chiefs. That's the closest I could get. Played for the Seahawks for a little bit, but I saw the name Dino Mangiero, and I thought, that's fucking Italian. I got to throw that guy in. I gotta see what this guy's all about.
As an Italian, I'm ashamed. I should know.
I
never heard of Dino Mangiero.
Yeah, it's insane. Mike Vrabel did make the list, by the way. He is in there.
Good.
One of my favorite, just random Chiefs players today is Mike Vrabel. Okay, let's
shout him out.
Yeah,
the Chiefs were really something to behold.
Insane. I'm really excited to continue this trend all the way. So I started it and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I can do this. And then I realized the season was 81 days away, and I was like, oh shit, that's a lot. That's a lot of players I got to randomly think of.
Yeah, have fun with that. Good luck to you.
Oh, well. All right, we're going to take a break. On the other side, we'll hit up with some quick hitters and round it all out. Chiefs.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Folks, it's playoff time, and if you're still just watching the games, then you're missing out. With Pick 6 from DraftKings, you can turn your hoops knowledge into real cash. Just make your picks, track your score, and if you hit all 6, you're looking at bigger payouts than Prize Picks flex plays. Nobody's dropping better payouts than Pick 6. Hit 6 picks, and that's 25 times your cash. And if you beat your competition, you could be looking at a 500 times bag in your pocket. And right now, new customers can get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry. Here's what you got to do. The playoffs are on, so why not take a shot at making a little money while you're watching? Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app right now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN to play $5 and get $50 in bonus picks. Better payouts, bigger wins, only on Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdictions. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited, 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. Look, the KCSN Golf Tournament is accepting teams now. If you go to givebutter.com/KCSN Golf, you can get all the information that you need there to go sign your team up for the 4th annual Tacos and Bourbon Golf Tournament presented by Tacos for Life, and obviously our friends at Ben Holiday Bottled and Bond Bourbon and Holiday Distillery. That's going to take place Monday, August 18th at Creekmore Golf Course. It's down in Raymore. Carts have GPS along with tournament scoring. So registration will start at 10:30. Tacos will be served at 11 a.m. New location this year. So go check it out. Really, really good digs at Creekmore. We are very excited to be there and to hang out with you guys as well. It's one of the biggest, about the only moneymaker for the foundation to give back and keep our programs running and humming at the KCSN Foundation. So we appreciate all your guys' support as well. All right, Matt, let's get into quick hitters. Over the weekend, Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe officially did sign that stadium bill to go into effect. Missouri does have an offer on the table for the Chiefs to decide where they want to put their stadium or renovate their stadium from Missouri and Kansas. The Kansas offer expires on June 30th, so I'm sure we'll have some news and some rumblings coming up soon, but that is officially signed. We did kind of talk about the stadium a little bit. Anything else you want to hit on when it comes to a future Arrowhead?
No, I hope, quite honestly, they keep it where it is. Renovate it, keep it there, whatever. If you have to build a new Arrowhead, put it in the parking lot, and I would hope to keep it where it is. I mean, I'll admit that a lot of that for me is just I grew up with them being there, and I just think it's neat that they stay there. But yeah, I mean, listen, you're the Chiefs. You got a lot of tradition. Don't stomp all over it. Don't move inside like a bunch of dopes.
Yeah, I agree. Real split jury in the comment section of last week's podcast about our traditionalist stance between you and I of, hey, play football outside. That's how it's meant to be, and build a dome. Split jury. Hung jury. Verdict is still out in the comment section, but we appreciate everyone giving us their thoughts and feelings on that.
I respect everybody's feelings, but half you are wrong.
A couple of signings across the National Football League. Steelers signed safety Deshaun Elliott. Falcons signed running back Jashawn Corbin, who was the UFL leading rusher. DC Defenders do win the UFL championship. Did you know that happened this weekend, Matt?
I didn't even know the UFL was playing. And I say that sadly, but very sincerely.
Here's the deal, though. Jordan Ta'amu, dog for that team. He was I believe the MVP of the game. Was Jordan Ta'amu. They also have former Kansas City Chief great DeAndre Baker on their team, and he is like their best quarterback.
He is.
Yeah, crazy. And Cornell Powell also on that team as well. So the Chiefs
right to the UFL.
he played pretty well. The Chiefs are very well represented on the DC Defenders, the UFL champions.
That team might have been able to beat the 09 Chiefs.
They might have been.
Would have had a shot. Would have been involved.
They would have had a shot. That did take place in St. Louis, so just down the road from Kansas City here. Interesting enough. Either of those signings move you between Deshaun Elliott and Jashawn Cooper?
No, I couldn't care any less.
Good.
That is a definition of a non-needle moving move.
Yeah, I'm with you. Is Lamar tampering? He says he told reporters that he had talked to Jair Alexander about joining the Baltimore Ravens. I think that the Ravens should be fine, and they should do what they do in Premier League soccer and take points away, aka take wins away, and also not allow them to do anything.
I mean, he's not. He is. He's currently a free agent, so no, they're not tampering.
Dang it.
Listen, I feel like Jair Alexander is going to be one of these things where he's going to sign somewhere, and everybody's going to go berserk. Like, this is a huge move, and he's going to play.
Be the Eagles.
He's going to play like 6 games.
Right.
He's hurt constantly. Like listen, there's a reason that he's a free agent. If he was still awesome all the time, he would still be a Green Bay Packer. There's a reason they cut him.
Yeah, that's a good point. Noah Lyles cancels his race with Tyreek Hill for personal reasons, according to Noah Lyles.
I don't want to make fun of it because I don't know if there's like legitimate personal reasons. But if there's not legitimate personal reasons, then weak.
Let me go to the article here real quick. Let me change tabs. According to Bobby, wow, I haven't had to try to pronounce his name. I've seen his name a lot, but I have not tried to actually like verbally pronounce it. So it has my mind in a mental pretzel. Bobby Kodak. That's definitely how you say it. They have canceled their race. This has been planned for a long time due to quote unquote complications and personal reasons via the New York Post. Lyles said, we were very deep into creating the event. In fact, it was supposed to happen this weekend. Unfortunately, there were some things, complications, personal reasons that it didn't come to pass, but we're full on. We were going to have the event. We were going to shut down New York Times Square and everything. What the hell? And we were going to have billboards for the event. It was going to be a lot of fun. Also, a lot of money. Holy shit. How much money do these guys have?
I was going to say, they must have gotten some sponsors. Listen, if he's got real reasons, fair enough. But if he doesn't, and he's ducking Tyreek, then it's weak. I
agree. Tyreek did tweet out about it. I think Tyreek also ran a 100-meter dash last weekend. I don't know if you saw this as well. He won his heat, whatever heat he was in, but he ran a 100-meter dash in a track setup.
I mean, he's fast as hell. It doesn't exactly surprise me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Guys run a 4.240. Like he can book it pretty good.
Yeah. Couple of Chiefs notes here. Dan Mears, the original Chiefs mascot, NFL's longest tenured mascot, is retiring after a 35-year run as Casey Wolf. Insane run for Dan. I know I did see that he made a post on social media. His wife did pass away from her battle with leukemia. I think that might play into it a little bit as well. But he is stepping down as Casey Wolf.
Well, yeah, obviously that it's very sad. As far as his career, I mean, geez, 35 years. That is not nothing. That is my entire life. Like, that's literally when Marty Schottenheimer started coaching the Chiefs.
Wow.
That's how long he's been doing. So, congrats to Dan on what was one hell of a run.
He got a statement from Clark Hunt in his retirement.
He got a statement from Clark Hunt. 35 years.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think you should. I don't know how many owners would do that, though.
Fair. That's true. I mean, that's true. No, damn. I mean, hell, 35. There are very few mascots. Like, I'm not a big mascot guy, but Casey Wolf. First of all, my daughter loves Casey Wolf.
It's iconic.
And number two, like, I remember years ago when he jumped on a guy who ran on the field. You remember that? Yes. He was like they were playing the Vikings. He like jumped on a guy.
Uh-huh.
So Casey Wolf has had a few big moments. Big moments.
Some shenanigans as well. Actually, he's the director of shenanigans. Was his title?
That's awesome. That's a
league's longest tenured mascot by more than 12 years. Crazy.
35 years. It's an insane run.
Joined in 1990 when they introduced Casey Wolf in 89. He appeared in 307 regular season and postseason games during his career, 375 overall, all 5 Super Bowl appearances, including during the Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid era as well. So happy trails to Dan Mears as he enjoys his retirement. Inducted into the Mascot Hall of Fame in 2006 and became the first NFL mascot to win that honor as well. So very much happy trails to a guy who legendary figure in the Kansas City in Chiefs Kingdom.
Absolutely. No question.
All right, couple more Chiefs nuggets here before we head out. I want to get your thoughts on a couple of the quotes that were said at the podium and an appearance that I don't know if we necessarily agreed or thought was going to be there. Josh Simmons' knee is taking a day-by-day approach. When he was asked about it on Tuesday, he feels he can be ready for camp. He said, quote, "This is kind of what I anticipated, what I worked for. I got my operation done by the Platinum Standard, and then I have the best in the business here." oh, buddy, I mean, if he's going to be ripping and ready to go by training camp, I mean, that's quite a bargain that the Chiefs got.
I've said it a lot. Like, my biggest thing when they drafted him was I was just really like, look, man, you're taking a guy who's 320 pounds and a torn patella. And
yeah,
there was a lot of thought, like, is he even going to be ready by like the regular season? So if he's ready to go by camp, again, I shout out to him in the sense, if he's ready to go by training camp, that means he worked his ass off in rehab. I mean, it really does. Like, that's what that means. So all the credit in the world to Josh, who seems to be on a path that if he's not ready for camp, he's going to be close and like might legitimately be ready to go day one, which would be amazing. Obviously, the best case scenario for the Chiefs.
Yep. Which you'll take that. Also in mini camp news, guard Trey Smith was present at mandatory mini camp per the local reporters who was there. I was surprised as well.
I was surprised. I'm not shocked, but surprised. I figured he'd probably just like, so I'll take the fine. I'm not going to go. Like, that's usually what most guys do. So for him to show up, I was like, all right.
I remember I had to. So yesterday's a little peek behind the curtain here. Yesterday's Only Weird Games. I obviously am tasked with making like the links and the live streams and everything like that. And I had made the title of the Chiefs get a huge surprise for mandatory minicamp. And I had to ask around because I didn't want to project, right? I didn't want to project my own feelings. If it was like, because I'm surprised about it doesn't mean everyone else is surprised about it. So I was asking around and that's general consensus that like no one really expected him to be there. And the fact that he showed up on, I believe Monday, they did media day, and he was in one of the videos that the Chiefs put out. I don't know if you saw that. He was in one of the videos. I thought, oh, that's kind of bizarre. Like he may is just showing up for media day and then dipping after that. But no, stuck around for practice. Now, by the time we're recording this podcast, we don't know if he's still there, right? I guess he could dip out early, might just go for one day and then dip out after that. So, check the temperature of how everyone's doing.
The Shamar Stewart.
Right. Be like, wait a second. I don't have to be here. I'm going to dip out of here.
This is nonsense.
I did think that was very interesting and definitely good. He did get the non-exclusive franchise tag, as you guys know, on February 28th, signed it on March 9th. He'll earn $23.4 million on the tag unless a new deal is agreed to before the July 15th deadline. Final thing from press conferences, I did think this was a very funny quote from Chris Jones. He said, quote, "I did things a little different. Don't take no advice from me, Trey. You in a good place. A franchise tag is like $25 million, right? That's the big bucks."
Good times.
I'm glad we can look back on this and laugh and not have to just be like, wow, him sitting next to his henchman in the box was really the end of times for the Kansas City Chiefs.
I'm telling you right now, I was at the game that night covering it for SI, and that was insane. That was about him being up there with like a Sopranos episode, like motif going on. Like, what is happening right now? This is ridiculous. It was. I mean, I'll tell you. Listen, a lot of stuff as time goes on will get lost to history because people will just forget like certain things happen.
Right.
That year was, of the 3 Super Bowl teams, it was probably the worst of the 3 teams.
Oh, that team needs to be studied.
That team started the year with Kelsey almost blowing his knee out in the last practice before the season started. It started with Jones flanked by what looked like the FBI in week 1, sitting there watching them lose as Tony dropped 27 passes. And then also them simultaneously becoming America's team with Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Like, but listen, that team, you couldn't pack all that shit into 1 year if you tried with that team. It was impossible what went on with them that season. Jason Kelsey ripping beers up in the box up in Buffalo to his shirt off, screaming. Right. I mean, that season was impossible. Everything that happened in that season was impossible. And then the fact they won the Super Bowl was just that season, honestly, was made for Hollywood. Like, it was they lose on Christmas. It's like all hope is lost. I mean, you couldn't make that season up if you tried. If you wrote that and handed it to somebody, you'd be, come on, man. Taylor Swift started dating the tight end, really? Yep, went to all the games. Like Blake Lively's coming to the game. Ryan Reynolds is. I mean, here's this team in the Midwest. No, here they are, like the epicenter of the earth.
Yeah,
Kelsey's got like a podcast going, and everybody's watching. I mean, it was awesome.
That's the start of the podcast. That was the year they started the podcast as well.
It was the second year.
Oh, the second year
they started the podcast. You went to the Super Bowl, played the other Kelsey.
Oh, that's right.
That team. Listen, the Patriots had an unbelievable run, and everything. No team in my lifetime has captured the country in the NFL like the Chiefs. Where it's just love them or hate them, like you have an opinion.
That's true. What is the quote from who's that bowler?
Oh yeah. Weber. Right.
Pete Weber. Yeah.
Who are you? I am.
Who do you think you are? I am is what he said. Which incredible, by the way. I threw that one out there. But when he retired, he said, "Love me or hate me, you still watched." And I was like, God damn, this dude knows how to throw out bangers.
Yeah, and it's like the Chiefs are the epitome of that.
Oh
like,
yeah,
you're gonna watch them and you're gonna deal with it. And guess what, guys? This year they're on TV about 15 times. So settle in, little Thanksgiving, little Christmas. We'll see. Maybe the NFL just decide to put them on July 4th. We'll find out. Who knows?
It's true. It's a flash game. Love them or hate them, you still watch the Kansas City Chiefs. That's a great motto.
I like the show. Love it or hate it. Here you are.
Exactly. That's going to do it for that football show. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us on this fine Wednesday afternoon, or I guess whenever you're listening to this podcast. I always forget that how podcasts work is kind of time traveling, because we recorded this in the past and then you're listening to it in the future. Nevertheless, we'll be back with more existential crises here on that football show. We just missed out on Iran and Israel topic. We'll hit that on next week's show, I guess.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. That's going to do it for that football show. Thank you to Ben Holiday, Bottled and Bomb Bourbon, Holiday Distillery. We will talk to you guys on Friday, where we will have some power rankings and much, much more. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. We'll talk to you soon.